Time for the 11 times table. The 11 times table trick is just as visually simple as the 10 times table tip, only because of how fast it is. But I will explain some of the maths behind it. But really the focus is to give you some tips on doing things quickly. So what happens all the way down to 11 times 9 is you write this number, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you write that twice. 11 times 1 is a 1, 1. That's why it's 11. You write this number twice. 11 times 2, you write that twice. 2, 2, so it's 22. 11 times 3, 3, 3, so the answer is 33. Remember, write this number twice. 11 times 4, 4, 4, so it's 44. 11 times 5, 5, 5, 55. 11 times 6, write it twice. 6, 6, 66. 11 times 7, 7, 7, 77. 11 times 8, 8, 8, 88. 11 times 9, 9, 9, 99. Let's just stop there for a minute. It's really neat to do this because it's quick, but let's pick one of them randomly and talk about the maths, just so there's some logic behind it as well. So similar to what we did over here on the 9 times 11, what's happening in 7 times 11, for example? Okay, the 7 times 11, you have 7 times 10, which is that number. It's not a 1, is it? It's really a 10. So you've got 7 times 10, which equals 70. And then you've got the 7 times 1, because that's your place value, which equals 7. And when you add them together, of course, you get 77. Now, I would really expect you to use this trick because you could do this with all of them. So let's pick another one. Shall we do the next one down? It's the same idea, just so you know the maths. So we're going to do first the 8 times 10. This one is not a 1, it's a 10. 8 times 10 equals 80. We know that because we just add the 0 to the 8, don't we? Just as we learnt in the 10 times tables tip. And then this is a 1, and 8 times 1 equals 8. And when you add those two, you get 88. But as you can see, it's really important to know the maths and to know the numbers inside the numbers. But it's also good to learn a quick technique like this. So just a minute. So we got this far. What about 11 times 10? Well, remember your 10 times table trick. The beauty of multiplication is this idea of commutative property. So you can go this way or that way and you will get the same answer. So whether you say 11 times 10 or 10 times 11, just go, oh, a number's being multiplied by 10. Which number's being multiplied by 10? It's this 11. It's the 11 that's being multiplied by 10, so I'll just add a 0, like we did over here. So it's 110. There are a couple of ways we can look at this. I'm going to do this up here. Let's do it in a different color, shall we? If we're doing 10 times 11, we've got the 11. And it's really like saying 11.0. And when you multiply something by 10, you move the decimal by the amount of zeros in this number, which is a base 10 number. Base 10 numbers are 10, 100, 1000, and so on and so on. So 10 only has one zero. You always move it to the right, 1 to the right. The decimal goes there, that cancels, and the answer becomes 110 because the decimal's there now, and it would be saying like 0.0 when the 0 wouldn't hold a place value. But what if we did it like down here? Well, you could say 10 times 10, you just add a 0, you know is 100, so 10 times 10, and that's this number here, because it's a 10, not a 1, equals 100, and the 10 times 1, and there is the 1 there, equals 10. And when you add those two, it becomes 110. Just to show you the different ways that it works mathematically. Okay, now remember what we did in the last one, say the 9 times 10 to 9 times 11 to 9 times 12. Because this might trick you and you might think, there's no way I can remember 11 times 11. Well, it's easy to get to the 11 times 10. Remember, anything you multiply by 10, just add a 0. That will give you the 110. So that's easy to do in your head. So if we want to go from 11 times 10 to 11 times 11, well, here you had 10 groups of 11, and here there's one more. There's 11 groups of 11. So to go from 10 to 11, you just add one more 11, one more group of 11 to make it 11 11s. So when you add 110 and 11, you get 121. You think, wait, hold on a minute. What about 11 times 12? Well, you do the same thing. So really, you only have to do 2 steps. It's not hard to do in your head. So let's do the same thing. We've gotten from 11 times 10, which is easy to do in your head. Add one more 11 to that, and it gives you 11 times 11. And once you've got that, what do? You guessed it. You add another group of 11, because now there are 12 11s. So 121, which you've just worked out in your last step, plus another 11 will give you 132. And I hope that added a few more tricks to your times tables. Okay, we'll do a recap of what we've done so far. For the 9 times table, we basically used our hands, and on either side of the finger, when we counted these numbers, you got your answer. You got 2 numbers that gave you your answer. And this worked up until 9 times 10. 9 times 11 was quite easy. You just wrote 9 twice, and then you just needed to add another 9 to get to 9 times 12. For the 10 times table, we just added a 0 to these numbers here. And for the 11 times table, we wrote these numbers twice, all the way up till 9. And we remembered that for 11 times 10, we could use the 10 times table tip, just add the 0. And then for the next 2 steps, just add an 11 to that to get 11 times 11, and then add 11 again to get 11 times 12. See you later.